Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's webinar for AGS Prime Good Jobs Challenge Overview. My name is Susan Harden, and I'm with AGS, and I will be your presenter this afternoon. So, this session is being recorded, excuse me, and I'll make it available to you afterwards. I'll get it emailed out to everybody so you can review it or share it with your colleagues, etc., etc. So, thanks so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. So first of all, thanks for spending some time with me this afternoon. I know everybody's super busy. And congratulations on your grant. So that's super exciting. We're going to spend just a couple of minutes going through some slides. If you're anything like me, not watching a bunch of slides is sort of with the goal. So we're going to spend a few minutes just with some overview slides, sort of introducing AGS to you and a little bit about Prime, and then we're going to dive right over into the application, do kind of a run through of the application. We're going to start with reports first, and then kind of work backwards and look at the forms and data entry and kind of what that looks like. Everybody has seen forms and fields, so we're not going to get into all every single field on forms and that kind of detail. But I want you to come away from today, since I know people have heard about AGS Prime on some of the EDA calls, and a handful of your colleagues are already using this application for their Good Jobs Challenge grants. We've gone through training and deployed them, and they're using it, et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to give everybody a chance to see and hear what AGS Prime is as you are thinking about options for yourselves. So that's going to be planned for the next 30 minutes or so. It's going to be pretty quick fire. If at the end of the session you want to get together, if you have questions or things that you didn't get answered or things you want to just go through more slowly, you all have my contact information. I'll present it again at the end of the slides. These slides are also available from the Go-To Training Control panel if you haven't already received it, so you have my contact information. Please get a hold of me. We'd love to work with you. If you find that this is something that is of interest, my job is education. So without further ado, let's dive in. And I have a cough drop because I have a little bit of a cold, so sorry. Anyway, just a little bit about AGS. AGS is an acronym for American Government Services. That's the name of our company. AGS Prime is the name of the product, and AGS Prime is a no-code platform as a service, or a PaaS. You've probably heard that term before. What we have done over the years is use our platform, Prime, to configure out or build out compliant applications or templates for a variety of different federal grants, for EDA, DOL ETA, for EDA, for voc rehab, for other types of federal programs. So we have used our tool to build out compliant templates for data management based on business rules and field requirements and reports for a variety of different grants. We work with scores of federal grants for DOL ETA and now EDA, scaling apprenticeship, closing the skills gap, one workforce, rural healthcare, apprenticeship building America, strengthening community college grants for SCC2, and Good Jobs Challenge, just amongst the buckets, right? And so, and hundreds of organizations, lots of community colleges, workforce boards, training organizations who are part of these grant projects as the leads or part of the consortium as data entry organizations or grant tracking in some way. Again, as I mentioned, we use our AGS Prime no-code platform to build out compliant data entry systems for participant tracking, for WIPS compliant reporting for DOL ETA, if you're familiar with WIPS, providing CSV files, and we provide ongoing validation and report compliance for all of these grants, Good Jobs Challenge included. So as this grant is still in the early days and EDA is still figuring out some of their business rules and validations, quite frankly, right? Our job is, and we do this for all of our grants, we continually buff and polish and update our templates and the applications that our customers subscribe to so that you continue to be in compliance. And that is all part of your subscription. There's no additional cost. There's no consulting services cost or anything additional for that. That is our commitment to our customers. We have always done that. So just want to make sure that's super clear for everybody. As EDA continues to finalize what it is they want you to do, we will continue to update the application for the data input side and for the reporting side to be compliant with that moving target through the life of the grant. Some key features for all of these templates. We always have, of course, participant tracking capability, a case management business process that is baked into the process for capturing the data along the way, right? Demographics, program enrollment, training, credential completion, jobs, follow-up, right? All of those kinds of things, and services, the big services grant. All of those kinds of things that you need to track, but it's in a logical case management business process. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. We always include self-registration as an option for you if you want to leverage your potential participants in doing some initial data entry of registering themselves and providing some initial demographic information, if you will. We always provide an employer management module, super important for this grant, obviously, which is really a CRM for your employers, a sales tracking tool, if you will. And all of that is built on AGS Prime, the no-code platform. So if you subscribe to Good Jobs Challenge, you also subscribe to AGS Prime, meaning that you get the Good Jobs Challenge application and you get the platform for which you can build your own applications. In addition to having good jobs, we train you how to build your own applications for your other grants if you want to, much like using Excel. You build in Excel workbooks, you build Excel worksheets, and if you need a new one, you open up Excel and you create a new one. And Microsoft doesn't charge you for more workbooks and worksheets. Prime is the exact same way. You subscribe to the platform, we train you how to build applications, build reports, build queries, etc., etc. All of that is available to you at no additional cost. I want to make sure that's really, really clear, that you understand the cost structure and the pricing model for what we provide, and so that you don't have to worry about hidden costs, which nobody ever wants. We want to know that there are no surprises when we're working with software for these complex grants. We also provide lots and lots of training for the application to help you with your end user training as well. We provide ongoing, unlimited, and unmetered system administrative technical support. So you don't have to worry about calling me or someone on our team or emailing and then worrying about a service cost. All of that is baked into the process. And we can do that because it's easy to use. We also provide free monthly user group meetings. So those are always available to you. They're typically the first Thursday of every month. And we always do lots of emails and communications. That's a little bit of an overview. Picture being worth 1,000 words. Just imagine Prime is your platform on which lots of different applications can live. Today we're talking about Good Jobs Challenge. The Good Jobs Challenge is an application living on top of a Prime platform. You can have as many applications as you want, future apps here in hashtagged form, just to kind of illustrate that you can build as many applications as you want. So that's the end of the slides. The slides, of course, have my email and phone. I think you all already have that. So we're going to skip this slide and go straight into the application. Feel free to use the chat, and that's being monitored. And if we have time to get to questions, we will. Otherwise, we'll do live Q&A at the end if we can, or shoot me emails, or call me. Hold on, I have to cough just a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. So here's Prime. This is what our customers' sites look like as well. Although it's my demo site, so there's no real data here. Very quickly, all of our customers are hosted on Amazon Web Services. So you get the benefit of all the security and privacy infrastructure that is part of AWS. All of our customers, excuse me, have their own dedicated virtualized web server. So everyone is segregated into what's referred to as a single tenant environment. You might want to write that down. That's very important when you are dealing with data like all of these grants that are PII, that include PII. So there's no commingling of data amongst our customers. Everything is completely segregated. All of our customers have their own domain name, icc.agsprime.net, mdcapprenticeship.agsprime.net, susanharden.agsprime.net, etc., etc. So everyone is completely hardwalled, all of our customers. That's very important. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. So here's the look and feel of the application. We have our menu across the top of participant and employer, self-reg, administrative module for applications. We'll take a look at all these things. Everything here is editable. You'll have your own organization, or if you have a project logo or logos, those will all be here. Language, whatever you want here, totally up to you, completely configurable. But as promised, I'm going to jump to reports first. So that was the big mystery. We want to make sure that our reporting is intact. So as you all know, there's still a fair bit of movement and decision making from EDA as to what will be workable with this, with their data collection instrument. It is macro enabled, password protected, kind of a difficult thing to work with quite yet. But what we have done and our customers are using is we have recreated completely. I'm going to run this report, this quarterly report, based on my dummy data for 2022 quarter 4. I'm just going to click run the report. It has generated this report. And what we have done is completely recreated the workbook as developed by EDA. The entire workbook, I'll make this a little bit bigger, and every single worksheet from the column to the text to the computations, everything. So as you can see on the participant database worksheet, we have all the information filled out per training provider. This is exactly what their workbook says. Our institutional information for our training provider A. In this case, we have 2 training providers in my demo system, and training provider B. All of this is entered in Prime In the administrative module, I'll show you this. And then our reporting automatically generates each and every one of these worksheets when you run the report based on the date elements that you put into your parameters based on the actual data in the application. Institutional information continued. Admissions, we can see for training provider A for this quarter, I had 2 participants for training provider A, 1 for training provider B. Training completions, I had 1 completed for each one of these training providers, and 1 that where the training was not continuous for training provider A and 0 for B. I have no non-completers for Q4, yay. Scroll over a little bit more. I have 1 employment status being tracked for a 6-month status for training provider B. I have my employment type. I have 2 full-times in 1 earn and learn employment. My information on earn and learn, they are in fact an incumbent worker. I have some salary information that's being computed. Career and job prep is here based on our training providers. Wraparound services is being computed and the costs of those services are being provided. And then overview is being computed as well. We still have a couple of outstanding questions that we've submitted to our customers to be submitted to EDA regarding some of the earn and learn and some of the employment attributes, as well as the how are they expecting you to define total cost. So some of the information is still blank. We're still waiting for final rules from EDA, at which point we'll buff and polish this. But hopefully you can see that we are reproducing the entire workbook. First and foremost, the participant worksheet, is going to be the one worksheet that even today they are allowing for a copy paste. So that's something. So hopefully you'll be able to run this report from Prime and from one version or one method or another, be able to easily take this data and provide it to EDA. If it's not the entire workbook being emailed, we can make each of these worksheets as CSV files to be submitted to them in a fashion that they will accept. Everything so it's easy for you. That's the goal. So I just wanted to start there. In addition to that one canned report so far, that's the only canned report that they're currently requiring, we have provided a couple dozen queries against all the data. So this is a data set, a data dump, if you will, a CSV file. If I just click run this query, it just provides every field from every form. And this is just launching this somewhere. Where did that go? There it is. Okay. So this is just if you wanted to do a data dump, you wanted to do your own querying using a third-party reporting tool, using the power of Excel. The point is it's your data. You have access to all of it all of the time. We just host it for you. So we just try to make it easy for you to get access to your data through a series of queries as well. We've also provided a couple of dashboard reports where we have pre-built a handful of data visualizations based on some of the key information that we see required for this grant, and then put them together into a dashboard with built-in parameters. Demographics dashboard, same kind of thing. So the idea here is we'll provide you with some starter dashboards, and then we'll train you using Prime to build additional queries should you want to build additional reports, data visualizations, and or dashboards, whatever you want to do. If you want to build them in Prime, great. If you want to just build the queries, take those queries out to your favorite reporting tool like Microsoft, BI or Tableau or Crystal Reports or CSS or whatever it might be. No problem. You get the data, organize it if you want to in Prime, and then make it available through an open API to your report tool. Simple as that. Your choice is the bottom line. So that's a little bit about reports. I wanted to really start there and make sure that you all see, first of all, that what we are providing is the pre-built data report for EDA as we know it. And we will continue to keep it updated as they answer questions and provide more and more refinement. So let's take a step back to the participant side. So everything in Prime is a case folder. So we have participant management and we have reviewed customers, reviewed participants. And we have Buddy Holly. I can open up his case folder. He's an existing customer. We have categorized sections of his case folder where we are seeing his participant profile, sort of that starter data, if you will, demographic information. So think of this as we are providing you with a compliant system. And yes, there are some additional fields that we have brought to bear that just make good sense for data management and our almost 24 years of experience in helping organizations in employment and training and education and training gather relevant data to help you tell your story. So you have one foot on the side of the line that says, AGS, we need to be compliant. But you have your other foot on the other side of the line that says, yes, but I also need to add some additional fields because this is how we're used to doing business. These are some additional fields that we want just for what we wrote into the grant for DEI. We have some additional data we want to capture because there are other applications or other systems track those. We want that to be consistent. We want to capture other data because we want to have data for evidence for a new grant we want to write. Whatever. Yes, you can have your cake and eat it too. So that's the good news. And that's part of that process that we work through, we help you with in your initial deployment, if you will, looking at the forms. Are there other fields you want to get added? We did that just the other day with Rural Capital. They had a couple of additional DEI fields they wanted added. Right in the middle of training, I just toggled over to the domain and added them live, added them to the queries. They're done. It's all done. So super simple. And I want you to know that that flexibility is baked into the architecture. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So if you add other fields that EDA doesn't care about, you can report on them. Absolutely. Your queries include the data, but we're not going to add any of that data into an EDA report unless they say, yes, you now need to start adding, disability information or something like that, which they I don't think they do. But anyway, yes, so you have that flexibility. And we're not going to let you configure yourself out of compliance, okay? We have been at this for so many years. We manage all 4 years and all 4 rounds of TACT grants, amongst all these other grants that I've mentioned. And I mean, TACT changed their rules for data entry and reporting for the annual report, or their quarterly report rather, the last quarter of the last year of the last round. So yes, we'll keep you compliant, but we will support you in your venture for adding other information. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kate. Okay, so participant information, everybody's seen fields and forms, et cetera, et cetera. So this just is what we bring forth for good data management and good demographics tracking, and of course, information about the address. And we have added census tract. It is not currently a required field, but we think it's probably a good idea. It's not something they're asking for now, but since census is involved, yes, they may do the computations based on the address information, but we've added that. If you decide you don't want it, we can remove it, just as a quick, simple little example to pick on. I'm going to go back to the participant case folder. So step one, we need the demographic. Step two, we enroll them in the training program. So I open up create a new training program. This begins to look very compliant to this grant, where we're going to be able to, associate this training program with one of your training providers. This drop-down list is being fed from one of the catalogs in the admin module. So the admin module, I do the trainings for the application administrators to train you how to build your catalogs that essentially are specific, germane to your grant, to your proposal rather for this grant, so that you're basically building a lot of drop-down fields so that your end users, we do not want them keystroking in names of providers, because they will for sure all type it in differently, and that's really going to mess up your reporting. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So we do everything we can to help build easily built drop-down fields for easy data entry for your data entry people who don't need to have business rules memorized. You want to guide them through that process as accurately and gently as possible. So we select a training provider. The training provider is associated with a program or programs, as the case might be. And we set up a start date, just say today, an expected completion date. We know that's part of this grant, so I'll just say August 1st. And all of the other fields on the form are grayed out. We don't want people filling in stuff that they don't know, that's inappropriate, and that wastes time. We did add an apprenticeship program field. This may be the kind of thing that's going to come up in the future. So we've added it. It may not be required now, but we've been around this block so many times, it's probably a good idea to keep track of apprentices. When the Department of Labor Secretary talks about the unemployment rate, and the first words out of his mouth are, we need to focus on apprenticeships. I'm going to say that EDA and DOL and everybody's really focusing on apprenticeships. Let's start tracking that now. So just my soapbox. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now we have training programs. We're going to track credentials and credential completions, a key metric for this grant. Again, credentials is just another keyword that you're driving. And of course, services. A huge part of this grant is going to be tracking services. And if the services are either wraparound, non-technical, or career job preparation. And was it funded by another organization, and the cost of those services. So, and everything is tied together to the participant in the training program. Everything is stitched together for your longitudinal analysis down the road from this grant, as well as feeding the EDA quarterly report, of course. So that's what the service report or service record looks like. And then we want to be able to track employments. The employment information is driven, if you want it to be, by the employer management module. So I'm going to click on employer management, click on Krusty Krab. So the employer management is really a CRM tool where you're tracking your employer information, employer activities for outreach, to be able to report on how many employers you've called on this quarter. Not something you report on with this grant, but I assure you, you have grants where that's going to be part of your story of success, and how efficient and effective you are in reaching out and working with your employer community to meet their skills, demands, and needs. So we have activities, we have contacts, and we're keeping track of employer participant services, as well as employer job openings and job fulfillments. So everything that we have here for job openings from this employer is available on the participant side, as well as if I want to make a placement, if I work on the employer side, I can select the job opening and select my participant. So depending on which side of the house you're on, you can always reach in and make that job match, which is really what we're talking about here. The employment form, obviously, as you can see, has some very key data that we need for tracking. We're going to associate this with the training program, the job start date, the NAICS code. Guess what? another category that you as administrators are get to fill in if you want to, and have that available for clicking as opposed to having to keystroke or have my little cheat sheet or even a link out to NAICS, which would be horrible. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Um, wage type, and we'll do the calculations for you on the report, whether this is hourly, weekly, etc. So if we're just going to say hourly, and I'll just say 35, I don't know, and incumbent worker, yes, and that's again part of this information. And then the promotion date is really a key metric in their current thinking about when employment is tracked, which is a little strange to us, having worked with so many EDA grants, or rather DOL ETA grants. But in any event, we have the data here. How that ends up being used over time or maybe changed, we'll see, but that's what's here. I'm going to just go ahead and save this. So I really wanted to just show that to you so you can see how job placements can look. And now we see that here, and we can see while I'm in the employer's case folder, the job that was filled and who filled it. If I go back to my participant side and I can see participants by employer, I can see all of those employers, the participants who were hired, the start date and NAICS code. So we just want to make it really easy for you for that job matching, depending on which side of the house you're working on at any time. So back to Buddy Holly, just kind of quickly here. I want to just make sure I kind of cover some of the key points as we're looking at this case folder, and then we're going to keep track of case notes, not reportable, but just part of the case management business process, and of course attachments. You're going to have attachments for the participant side and attachments for the employer side. Self-registration. Not all of our customers use this. Across all of our grants, I would say about 75% of our customers across all those grants that I mentioned, including Good Jobs, are using self-reg, but not everybody. It's just not their business process. Just not how they want to manage the data. But if you do, you can have this self-registration form, which, as you can see, very much mimics what we see on the participant profile from the staff entry side. But this, imagine if you will, is what's being presented off a website, either built, displayed in an iframe, or made available as a link. If you have a website that's a marketing page that you're driving people to for this grant, and you want them to click the link and fill out this form. So it's going to fill out they're going to fill out the fields. You can have attachments directly on the self-reg side, as many as you want. You're probably going to have consent language that you're going to want for them providing data that they're part of this particular grant, that they agree to it. We have customers who have media release consent language, in case their photographs are in marketing materials or on websites or something. So all of that is completely configurable and super easy to do and very common for those of our customers who use this. So then what happens when this data is submitted by your general public, it comes into this consolidated case management database, right? But it's segregated. We automatically segregate it over into this, what we call a view of not yet reviewed participants. Because at some point you're going to have maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of participants that are in your participant, reviewed participants view. And we don't think it makes sense for you to have not yet reviewed data sort of mucking up the works, right? We want to make sure that if my job every Wednesday afternoon is to, based on my security role in this application, is to have access to the not yet reviewed participants and eyeball all the data, make sure it isn't Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, right? And yet it all looks good to me. We have validation on phone fields and email fields, so all that is going to be pretty well buffed and polished. I'm going to change this. Because it comes in as not reviewed automatically. Now I'm going to change this to reviewed. I'm going to save it because I have rights to do that. And now there's nobody sitting in my not yet reviewed participants list. Everybody's clean. I go to my reviewed participants and there's John Johnson, ready to be enrolled in the program. So review doesn't mean he's eligible. It just means he's put in accurate data. And I have validated that as a staff person who's been trained to use the application, that this person is in fact not Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, is not a fake person. So now we can work with this. So that's the self-registration process. The admin module in 1 second, 30 seconds or less, really is just where you can configure all of the keywords that we allow you to change so you're not going to get out of compliance, as well as some of the key aspects of this grant. System lead characteristics, system lead funding, sectoral partnerships, staff organization investments, training provider catalog, training catalog. I'll just open this one up really quickly so you can kind of see what this looks like. This is where we're going to keep track of the unit costs for certain types of training. That's how we can automatically generate some of those program costs for you. So you as administrators, for all of you who have different attributes for your grant and different training providers and different training classes and catalogs and certifications, et cetera, I'll take you through the training for how to flesh out your catalogs in a 2-hour session. We'll follow that up maybe a week later with a follow-up admin session to review your homework, see how you did. That will undoubtedly flesh out some business process questions. We'll get you through the admin module. Everything's buffed and polished. And then you're ready to go with training your end users. It's just that fast. I've seen it happen in a couple of weeks, and I've seen it take a couple of months, depending upon the organization. From our perspective, it's very straightforward because we're delivering to you a pre-built application. And we keep it up to date. I don't have to keep asking you for, what should we do next? What should we do next? Or what do you want? It's built. You may come back to me 3 months from now and say, Susan, I forgot, we really want to add another field. Okay, no problem. So you don't have to come into this saying, I don't know everything that I think I need to know. It's okay. It's a living, breathing process. The core pieces that are, compliance driven, we'll take care of for you. And we've largely taken care of that for you now. So I've gone 3 minutes over, but I did want to just speak a little bit about that training and that, the time frame, because sometimes people just want to know, oh my God, how horrible is this? Or how easy is this? So I just wanted to provide a little characterization. I don't see any more questions in chat at this point. So if you have any questions, I guess I'm going to jump back over here, leave this up. I'd love to hear from you. We'd love to work with you. As I said, we're working with a number